This is the Spurs POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the San Antonio Spurs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, listen, they're not always going to be pretty, right? But it happens. And a win is a win, regardless of the opponent. And it all looks the same come April, come May, come June. It all counts the same. And that's the case tonight for the Spurs this evening in the District of Columbia. Welcome into the Spurs Postcast right here on Locked On Spurs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in all of the land. San Antonio tonight, winners 124-113, their sixth consecutive victory, the most since the March of 2019. He, of course, NBA champion Devin Brown. I'm Casey Viera, my friend, on a night where the Spurs showed up to work, took care of business, and in the second half, maybe got a little bit too lax for some's liking, but ultimately, again, they put the number on the right side of the column and head back home to the Alamo City for those two big Oklahoma City games on deck.
Taking care of business. Hey, that's about all that happened tonight. Let's talk about it, Casey. There were some pluses, some minuses, a little bit of extra DB bonus. Let's get into it.
Never been so excited to push an animation.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, well, they didn't really miss a beat in the first half, but they trailed by 2 after 1. Second quarter, they go off on an 18-4 run early in the frame. Victor, again, coming off the bench in this thing. And from that point forward, it set the tone the rest of the second quarter. They go 43-21 in the second and ultimately go up 69-49 at the break. Wemby leading the way 14-9 at half. De'Aaron Fox with 15-4. Third quarter comes along, and let me preface all this by saying that this is a Washington Wizards team, worst team in the league, playing without 6 players, only suiting up 10. Of those 6, probably, I would say they're probably 4 of their best players on the team, probably on the outs. But to their credit, they fought tonight. They fought, whether it was them fighting or the Spurs easing up on the gas or somewhere in the middle. It got Washington back into this game, and it got them back within single digits. They outscored the Spurs in the third. They go +8, and they got it back within single digits come the fourth quarter, back within 9. But some timely buckets. Luke Kornet, fantastic in the fourth quarter. More on that in a minute, playing all of the fourth in favor of Victor, who does finish with 22 minutes tonight. Ultimately, the Spurs, better team, heavy favorites coming in. They take care of business. De'Aaron Fox, the high man, 27, 7 and 6, 5 threes. That's the most he's hit as a Spur. Victor Wembanyama, 14 and 12, 22 minutes at DNP in the fourth quarter. Castle with 18, 5 and 11. Devin Vassell, 11. Dylan Harper, only 1 point in 18 minutes. You live with it. Again,
I'll live with it.
It's in the right side of the ledger, especially heading into the Oklahoma City games. You can't complain about the fact that it's 6 wins in a row. But they kind of look like a team that sleptwalked through the second half, if we're being honest.
All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that first half. Some of my keys to the game. Create your own energy. Every time teams go to Washington, got a late arriving crowd. One year we were playing, Obama came in mid-second quarter. We don't have to get into that. He was a great president, along with all the other great presidents they had. Barnes, Fox, Vassell, for me, needed to get off to a good start. We saw Barnes get off to a good start, 2 threes early, things like that. And then I have Wemby. You know, you love my notes. I have Wemby.
Laminated again today. Note everyone.
Laminated again today. Lamination back in the game. Had to give it some time off. Been getting crazy with me and Founders, and I'm a head coach. Casey, I'm a head coach at Founders, so been getting crazy with that.
Yeah,
Here's another key to the game is the Spurs depth, and that's big, Casey, because there's going to be nights when you're just better than your opponent. Now, I only say that, and I have a lot of respect for Washington, Casey, and this is why. Washington took a chance on me after I was in the USBL, gave me an opportunity to play for their summer league team, so I have respect. I've been in that building. The practice facility is in the building, the same building that they play in. Used to be called the MCI Center. Not sure what it's called now, but I know it's changed names. But let me get to this point real quick, Casey. The Spurs were going toe-to-toe with Washington in the first half, which led to some concerns that I have about what's going on as far as the lineups and rotations. We'll get into that later. All in all, to your point, Casey, they got to win tonight. So let's go from there. It's a win. It's not a loss.
I tell you what, one of the guys who was very pivotal in making it a win and putting the win away is that guy Kornet, who we mentioned. He's our X Factor tonight.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
20 points, 12 rebounds, plus 13 in 11 in the fourth quarter. Luke Kornet, the gift that keeps on giving, even found himself in a situation where he was running the break and ultimately got free throws out of the deal. So it didn't end in a full-on calamity, but he's continues to show why he's just good for what he is. And I don't mean to make that sound in a condescending sense, because he's doing everything you ask for and then some, because there was no need to play Wemby in the fourth quarter tonight. One, because of the advantage. Two, because even if Victor was healthy, this could have been one of those games where Mitch saw the hot hand out there in Kornet to start the third. It was like, or start the fourth. Saw him playing well. We're like, we're just going to hit the gas with this guy all the way home. And that's, for all intents and purposes, what he did. Just kind of more of the same from the big fella.
All right, let me say this. If you're Luke Kornet right now, when I get on the phone, not on the bus, not on the plane, they got other players listening to your conversations in the hotel room. All right. You know where Victor's room is. All the players get a list of where all the rooms are. You go, hey, listen, man, I'm playing so well right now. I'm playing in front of Victor. Your friends don't need to look up the stats and all that. That's what's going on right now. They're starting me because I'm playing well. And I'm playing in front of Victor. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Me, I just hope that the Spurs retire my jersey. This is what's going on right now. So, to his credit, he is playing right now, and I'll tell you what, when they do that French vanilla thing, it's great, and that's more for the fans. But Luke is a very good player that, along with Harper and some of these other guys, he's starting to make a real big impact on this basketball team, Casey.
Tremendous, and I think we've really seen. One of the contributing factors to how well he's played, I don't want to say it's the contributing factor because he's done a pretty solid job otherwise, but the dynamic that he has with Stephon Castle and some of these lobs,
right?
It's just amazing how something so simple, it feels like, can just become so clockwork and just work so smooth every single time. Just a high screen and roll, just get big guy moving, put it in the right place, he throws it down. And he doesn't have that real chemistry with like Fox and Harper, but with Castle, they've got it like that. And almost every time it works,
because Stephon Castle trusts him and he knows where he's going to be. Not that I'm saying that the other guys don't. It's just that Castle puts so much pressure on you getting so deep into the lane. Why? Because you have to pay attention to Stephon Castle's scouting report right now, which is he's going to get 2 feet in the paint 8 out of 10 possessions. So when he has that, and that big guy is that big guy, if that big guy steps up, Kornet's wide open. If that big guy lays back, Stephon Castle gets his dunks and his layups. So it's a tricky situation that those guys are in. Here's the big point, Casey, though.
Yeah.
Luke Kornet, the minutes that he plays, 25, 30, whatever it is, he's not going to hurt you.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point. He might not take over a game. Like nights like tonight are not going to happen every single night, obviously. But more often than not, when he's out there, like, you don't look out there and you say, like, that's a glaring weakness,
No.
Very rarely, if at all. It's not like you go out there and you're saying that's something we need to exploit, because 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. It's like a very circumstantial type situation where Luke Kornet looks out of place.
Right.
And I think that's kind of really just kind of a microcosm as to the job that he's done here, and why they brought him in here. Because, go ahead.
And that's his role on this basketball team. And so he can do that against OKC's front court as well as he can do that against anybody in the league. So if I'm one of the assistant coaches, and I know this will happen between now and when they leave Washington, which will probably be in the next hour or so, one of the assistant coaches will go up to him and say, "Big fella," and they'll have it circled on the deal. 20 and 12 should be your goal every night. I know you said what you just said, and I respect that, Casey. But imagine a 20 and 12 game against OKC looks very different than it does against Washington. You see what I'm saying? So they're going to want him to do this every night because he actually has the capability of doing that.
Right. Well, and I think the other thing, too, that gets in the way, it's the fact that if you look on the totem pole of the shot volume, that's, 8, 9, 9, maybe, all right, 8 or 9, maybe not 8 or 9, but that's not a focal point of the offense that's prioritized in the grander scheme of things,
Oh, heavens no. But neither was I. Hey, neither was I. And I didn't know with 20 or 20, whatever the case may be. Hey, it just happens like that.
Right.
That's why I love a guy like Kornet, because there's nights like this where it's like, hey man, good. And you're like, man, I just did that the other night. You know?
No, and it's just kind of one of those deals. It's cliche, but when you're just always being ready when your number is called, right?
Absolutely.
He probably
and that's the number one point right there, Casey, is being ready when your number's called.
Right. He probably, when he showed up to work today, he probably didn't anticipate playing the entire fourth quarter in that context. Maybe if Victor was on a minutes restriction and it took him up to the fourth quarter, okay, maybe you have that in your mind doing that. But in the sense that they're keeping me in the game because I'm working, I'm rolling right now, that probably wasn't exactly, at least if I'm Kornet, that's not going through my mind. It's just kind of a testament to him, though, always just, always being ready and always just being good to go on the other side. You mentioned the Oklahoma City game. I think that's a good place to leave things because coming up on the other side of the break, got a pair of those with the Thunder that's on deck. Merry Christmas to the Spurs. First one on Tuesday, the latter of the two, Christmas Day in Oklahoma City. How do they keep the good times going? We'll talk about that on the other side of the break right here on the Spurs postcast right on here on the Locked On Spurs. But before we get to all that, let's have a conversation about our friends that drive this program. All right, nobody knows your money goals better than you do. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again, channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks, ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Well, as we know, it's a Sunday, not only a Spurs Sunday, but an NFL Sunday, and they move fast. Look, we're already on the back end of the evening. One big play, suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. If you had anything invested in that Bears-Packers game yesterday like I did, it was certainly quite the evening. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. The receiver gets hot, defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump in all the moment. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live NFL bets or all bets all season long with FanDuel. The games move fast, and so can you. All right, welcome back into the Spurs postcast right here on Locked On Spurs. San Antonio's winners tonight, their sixth consecutive victory, taking care of the Washington Wizards, moving to 21-7 on the season, and on deck come the Oklahoma City Thunder, not once, but twice in 3 days, the first of them in the Alamo City. So with that said, we know the Thunder are going to come in they're not going to be thrilled about how things went down the last time they got together.
Correct.
They are never particularly thrilled playing the Spurs because the two teams don't particularly get along in the most cordial of fashion regardless. If you're the Spurs and you got this bull seeing red barging through your door not only once but twice this week, how are you getting ready for that, given how well you played the first time and that's going to be something that's coming right at you as well?
Well, where the Spurs stand in the standings. They're not too far behind OKC. What's coming. SGA's coming. He's going to have his guys ready to go. We all know that. Pretty simple stuff there. But let me tell you this, Casey. Spurs are playing well right now, too.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to look at our last line of work. And we beat them. Mm-hmm. We're not saying that we own them. All we're saying is we beat them. And we have the formula to beat them. Now, when you talk about formula, this Victor thing, like we talked about on camera, off camera, things like that. You saw some things tonight that alarmed me as far as the different lineups. So when you talk about OKC, this is a different animal. This is not Washington. They have players that are established and that can play. So they can get up 20 on you really quick, and they love doing that on the road. We've seen that in some of their recent games. But let me tell you this, the Spurs will be ready. You got to take care of home no matter who that opponent is, and we'll kind of go from there on that right now, Casey. What you got? What are you thinking? What do you think the Spurs need to do?
I'm looking at a Spurs team that right now has gone, I'm doing the math, 13-3 since they lost those two games to the Golden State Warriors.
That's right.
Back in where was the exact date? In the middle of November, the 12th.
Middle of November, yeah.
Middle of November. And I think about how much has changed since that point. The questions that we had about that team at that point,
right
after that weekend, and how much has changed, because when the latter of those two games ended, we were having conversations about De'Aaron Fox. The next day, we were having conversations about Victor Wembanyama and how the Spurs were going to prevail for this extended period of time. As a couple of days went by, we learned that they weren't going to be without Wemby for a month. We've learned that the answer to that question is that they are a really good basketball team.
Right.
And I think everything that we have seen from them is legitimate. Do we go as far to say title contenders? No, of course not. Not at all. But anybody who can compete in the Western Conference, absolutely. And I think with this Oklahoma City thing, I don't think they were caught off guard when they met the first time.
Right.
But there's certainly a wrinkle in the game plan when you show up to work and you find out 15 minutes ahead of time. Wemby's playing, but Wemby's coming off the bench.
Yeah.
So you talk about gamesmanship, like the last minute something getting by, and they're like, all right, well, let's see how we navigate this. They're not going to catch the Spurs. None of that's going to catch Oklahoma City off guard.
No.
And if you remember, that game was looking very close to being a mess midway through that second quarter before Victor came back in. And I think right now where I kind of stand is that I don't feel like unless the Spurs find a way to sweep these next two games, which I don't think there's going to happen. I don't feel like we are going to learn a ton of which we don't already know.
Right.
I feel like all these things that we're saying, it's a good test, great test, obviously one. But if the Spurs, they split at the end of the day, we're still kind of saying, yeah, they're good, but they're not close.
They're not close, right?
If they get swept in these two games, are we
then
saying,
we got problems? Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, we have problems, but does that kind of really get rid of the sentiment that they're still right with everybody else in the Western Conference?
No. San Antonio is a good basketball team with a lot of depth. You're going to have to use that against a team like OKC. But let me say this. Let me say this, Casey, and this is huge. on the OKC side, you knew that Wemby was going to play.
Right.
But as a disrespect side, he's coming off the bench. And OKC got off to a good start in that basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wemby turned it around. You know why? Because Wemby is the type of player, just like tonight against Washington, you have to pay attention to what he does. So he came in there tonight and changed the complexion of the game. Why? Because if I'm Washington and I'm on offense, I have to know where he is because he's going to, now they had a young fella, he was either 17, 18, 19, something like that, try to challenge him at the rim and had to give him the Mutombo. That was an early, I'm coming after you, Mutombo, that record.
I respect the ambition. Go after the
exactly.
biggest. Yeah, go after the biggest.
But the thing is that OKC is a different animal, and they played along with that the first time, but they know Wemby's going to be playing in this next one, whether he's coming off the bench or starting or whatever. But OKC's going to be ready, and if you're going to get OKC's best shot, and forget the 25th, let's worry about the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to happen in a couple of nights.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to seeing if our player of the game shows up again, and I have a good feeling he probably will.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Gotta love Luke, man. Especially when you can dole these awards out to him.
Hey, listen, our player of the game is Luke Kornet, and I'm going to tell you what, it started when he was in Boston, because I know that young man had a lot of clam chowder. It's the best place for you to get it, okay, is Boston. Forget the name, Legals Seafood. If you're ever in Boston, please go there. Casey, that's all I got for you. Luke Kornet, congratulations. You get your flowers tonight. Great game.
4 most dangerous words in life. Said it the other day. Devin Brown sent me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Feels like a good place to put a bow on things on a Sunday night. Only way we can go from here is up. All right. Things going up for the Spurs tonight. They take care of business. 124-113, beating the Wizards. They have their longest win streak at 6 since the first time, for the first time since March of 2019. We'll be back tomorrow. One Spurs squad show this week, not on the Tuesday, Thursday. Everything moved around a little bit because of the holidays. So Spurs squad show tomorrow night, Monday, 9 p.m. Jeff Garcia is back, and we'll get ready, of course, for the big game that is Tuesday and the big game that is on Thursday. And as always, he'll have you covered on the title pod bright and early here in the AM, just like we will once the squad show's done. The very next day, we'll be right back here with another Spurs postcast right here on Locked On Spurs. And as we do every one of these get-togethers, we show you guys love. We thank you. You're the ones who drive this thing, make this thing fun, and it doesn't happen without all of you guys. So for my good buddy, Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown, I'm Casey Viera. Spurs winners, 6 in a row, heading into the week on a high. Have a nice night.